Welcome to Vitality Daily Dose. Do you often feel your throat is clogged and uncomfortable with mucus and phlegm? Your nose is stuffy and you have difficulty breathing? Today, we're going to talk about how to get rid of mucus with salt. Very simply, whether you have sinus mucus or mucus in your inner ear, or it's coming from your tonsils or from your throat. I'm not sure if you know this, but salt is actually good for any type of bacteria, yeast and mold. Even if you think about the way they treat meat, they add salt to raw meat to prevent any type of bacteria from growing. Salt will kill bacteria, mold, and yeast through dehydration. Another interesting thing that salt will do is it will thin out the mucus. So a lot of times people with this condition, really thick mucus, can come out of your body very well. You can use salt to thin it out. How does it do that? The mechanism, it takes the water out of the mucus, it breaks down the mucus, and thins the mucus. So we have two things going on. We inhibit the growth of bacteria and kill the bacteria, and we also have the mucus thinning. So this is actually good for infections anywhere in your respiratory tract. You could have postnasal drip, which is a condition where the mucus leaks down the back of the sinuses into the throat. You could also have a situation where you have an ear infection and the mucus builds up through the SDA tubes on both sides, and that can lead to the throat as well. And this is you try to get rid of the throat infection. But it keeps coming out of the ear. So the source is the ear. The consequence is the throat. So you have to be able to treat where it's coming from. And also if it's in the sinuses, you have to treat that as well. So this mucus could be coming from the sinuses, from the ears, or even from the tonsils. The little immune glands in the back of the throat can swell, especially in children, and be the source of the infection. But actually, the tonsils try to fight off infection and protect any bacterial invasion deeper into the body. So it's meant to create defense mechanisms, and it creates inflammation. And a lot of times you'll get a sore throat from time to time. So mucus can come back up from the esophagus because you either have acid reflux irritating the esophagus, or you can have some mucus that comes back up from the lungs. So there are a lot of different things that you can do in regards to salt, from very expensive to very cheap. So let us start with the cheapest thing you can get your hands on, which is basically a teaspoon of sea salt. As for salt, I do unrecommend using table salt because they have too many additives in the anti-caking agent, and you really do know where they source that refined product from. I really recommend getting a good rock salt. Himalayan sea salt is a really good one. What you're going to do is you're going to take a teaspoon of the sea salt and dissolve it in a glass of water, and you're going to drink it just by drinking it down. You're going to expose everything in your mouth and your throat area to this salt plus. The salt is going to go into your body and enhance something called the autonomic nervous system, specifically focusing on this flight or fight mechanism. It tends to improve, which a lot of people will get results from just drinking some salt water. So you want to heat the water up to a certain level so you can dissolve the salt in it, so you have the option of drinking it, using it as something you can gargle with right away. So you just drink this salt water, you gargle, clean your throat, exposing it to this seawater, and you're going to start improving your immune system because it's going to kill the bacteria and start thinning out the mucus. So gargling with salt water is great, but remember when you gargle with it, make sure you dilute the salt in the water. Anti-inflammatory effects. Next best natural options for sinus mucus. A neti pot is something called a nasal wash, where you're going to pour some salt water into your sinuses through here, and it's going to come out the other side through the sink. So the reason I like that is because you use this diluted salt water and it's very gentle on your sinuses. You're not using any chemicals and it seems to thin out the mucus, and you'll notice that when you blow your nose, a lot of the mucus will come out. If you have postnasal drip all year round, suspect a fungal infection or some kind of MLE that's growing in you is because it shows it's not seasonal. And hopefully you'll change your diet and cut out sugar because sugar feeds this mold and candida and the fungus you might want to do like a neti pot, maybe every other day until it's completely settled. The problem with some people is they scrape their sinuses and they might have to have surgery. And now they are redamaging this very delicate layer of skin where all those good bacteria are. This is to protect you from pathogens. So, in another video, I talked about using a drop of diluted kimchi juice and a little cotton ball to add microflora to your sinuses to help with the pain. The next thing you can do is use a humidifier. It turns the liquid into a vapor, and so you would use this while you're re-sleeping. As soon as you turn the machine on, put the saline in and let the machine run all night, so you can actually inhale. Put this into your body, into your lungs, and you can help thin out the lungs. Another thing I would recommend is to dress really warmly and keep warm when you in bed, because a lot of times these infections, especially if it is in the lower respiratory area or even the upper respiratory tract, can be viral. So antibiotics do unwork, so you want to warm up your body and create. Or naturally fever, so you want to wrap up warm in bed and try to sweat. You can cook these viruses in temperature, and so we're going to. Kill them by dehydrating them with acid, kill them with heat, and then the next thing you can do is something called salt therapy. A couple of options: you can actually go somewhere and they have salt caves that you can go into. Or there are salt therapy machines that are basically like a dry salt machine that dumps this dry salt out into the air, and they usually come with their own salt, that purified sodium chloride. I do think they use sea salt. I'm not sure, but these halotherapy machines are a little more expensive, a little bit. So if you can afford some machines, that might be worth buying, right? Now, like for example, if you do this and it doesn't work, it could be that the source of your infection is coming from an ear infection or some kind of bacteria in the yeast. Tube could be getting clogged up because of that. You have a couple of options. You can just take a drop of seawater and put about 4 drops or 5 drops in each ear, drop it in, kind of shake it out and what. In addition, I would also like to introduce some natural methods below. You'll find your throat and sinuses much more comfortable. Warm water helps thin mucus, making it easier to clear from the throat and sinuses. Steam moistens the airways, helps clear nasal passages and loosens thick mucus. Eat ginger, garlic, and honey. These are natural antibiotics that help reduce inflammation, reduce phlegm, and support the immune system. Avoid dairy and sweet. Some people find that milk and sugar increase mucus, so limit them when they have a stuffy nose or a lot of phlegm. If the mucus lasts longer than 2 weeks, is yellow-green, and is accompanied by fever, sinus pain, or severe difficulty breathing, you should see your doctor. It could be a sign of an infection that needs treatment. The video has ended here. If you found it helpful, please share it with your family and friends. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video to spread health to everyone. See you in the next videos.